Excellencies, I now invite you to make comments, if any, on the report of the Council. Any comment? No comment. So the report is adopted. I will now make my statement. Your Excellencies, heads of state of the East African community, the delegation leaders, the Secretary General, members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, greetings from the people of Uganda. Thanks for electing me to chair the East African Community Authority for the next 1 year. At this point in history, and given my 65 years of either watching closely or being right in the center of events on our much troubled continent, I feel compelled to use this occasion to bring up the issue of Okonesa, Okufubia, miscooking the African Revolution. Okonesa, Kufubia in our languages of the lakes, is a process where the food is not properly or consistently cooked by not applying the necessary heat for the necessary duration, and it ends up being undercooked. Kukona, kufuba. I don't know how they say it in Swahili. They'll give me the Swahili word. The food does not kusia. Kusia is our word there, meaning kuiva. Chakula haiwivi vizuri. The food does not get properly cooked. It becomes a mkone. A mkone is the food which is undercooked and you cannot sort it out. It then becomes difficult to cook properly because the insufficient heat initially applied has cooked the food in the wrong direction. The option then is to throw away that food and cook another quantity of food. I have attached a note to this speech from our scientists describing this process, which we the Wananchi simply call Konesa, Kufubia, but it's actually science. It is actually science. By 1900, the whole of the African continent had been colonized, except for Ethiopia, which had defeated the Italian imperialists in 1896 at Adowa. This was squarely the fault of the African chiefs and kings who had watched the slow encroachment of these European invaders right from the time when the Ottoman Turks captured Constantinople, Istanbul, in 1453, closing the overland route to Asia for Europe, pioneered by Marco Polo around the years 1271 to 1295. While the Europeans were rightly looking for an alternative route to the east by going around our massive continent, they became slave traders and colonialists when they discovered the weaknesses created by our kings. Our kings were oppressing the people, fighting one another instead of cooperating, failed to adopt new scientific knowledge, e.g. gunpowder. The Europeans invented gunpowder when our kings were here just running around with spears. Many of the kings participated in the slave trade, selling our people. The Bible says the wages of sin is death. It says in the book of the Romans, chapter 6, verse 23. And somewhere else the Bible says, whatever a man sows, that's what he reaps. It says in the book of the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 7 to 8. By 1900, all those African kings were either dead or captured or had capitulated to subservience. They had squandered the time when they could have done the necessary changes to immunize us against domination. Ever since 1498, when Vasco da Gama passed by the East African coast, here in Zanzibar, Mombasa, attacked Mombasa, Vasco da Gama actually attacked Mombasa and continued to India. It was a whole 402 years wasted. Those kings wasted 402 years. No scientific innovation, no unit among themselves, etc. They paid for their mistakes. Kabarega, our kings there in Uganda, Mwanga, Chetwayo, the one in South Africa, even here Mkwawa, I don't know whether he was captured or what. He tried to fight, etc. were either dead or captured. Unfortunately, the whole of Africa also paid for having slaves torn away from their country, freedom hijacked, resources stolen, etc. Africa, by 1900, was facing a catastrophe. Some of the people that were colonized in Latin America, North America, Australia, were exterminated, or only very few of them are still surviving, and their lands were taken over by other people. However, while the leadership of Africa has been problematic for centuries, the populations are tough, hardworking, and wealth creators for millennia. Unlike the American Indians or Aboriginal Australians, we died during the colonial aggression, but did not perish. Our cattle, goats, sheep, chicken, etc., that stay with us in our hearts, had long vaccinated us against the deadly zoonotic diseases between man and animals that had exterminated the other indigenous peoples. That gave opportunity for new and more potent forces to emerge and become the vanguard of the African resistance. Who were these who resisted? There were two clusters initially. The African-American Pan-Africanists in the persons of W.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, Pademore, etc., and the African National Congress of South Africa that was founded in 1912. The Historical Mission now for the black race and the other colonized peoples was liberation against imperialists through the worldwide anti-colonial movement. In the case of Africa, the historical missions were liberation, ukombozi, uhuru, modernization, creation of prosperity, and provision of strategic security against all threats. How were we to achieve this? Uhuru na umoja, freedom and unity. Unity, freedom would enable us to control our destiny again. Umoja would enable us to address the issue of prosperity and strategic security. How was prosperity to be achieved, and how is it achieved in other countries? With modern economics, prosperity is achieved through the production and sale of the goods or services that one is capable of producing. To sell, however, you need markets. Producers need buyers to succeed. Producers need buyers to succeed. The more buyers you have, the more prosperous you become. This is where economic integration of East Africa and the whole of Africa comes in. If we do not work on this seriously and without wasting time, we betray our people. We connoisseur the African Revolution. miscooking it. The next question is the issue of strategic security against all possible threats. If we do not understand that, we again betray Africa. Strategic security can only come, in my view, from political integration. Why? Political integration through the creation of the regional federations where possible rationalizes the geography of the defended zone so that we are able to be present in the four spheres of the universe. Four spheres of the universe: land defenses, air defenses, defenses at sea, the Navy, and defenses in space. Apart from rationalizing the geography of the defended area, you need necessary muscle, size of land, natural resources, and population. As we speak today, only 4 countries have been to the moon. These are the USA, China, Russia, and India. There are a number of highly developed countries, but they have not been able to land on the moon. They are still here with us also.